Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Midday Motivation. Yes, the month of June where we're honoring fathers and the men that we love. I want to welcome our panel on who's always so on point, Sister Diane Abels, as well as my dear sister Mary Talbot, and we are missing but we love and sending love to our sister that is not on today. But we just want to thank everybody for supporting the work of Sisters for Sisters. Our theme for 2022 is Arise Queen. It's your time and it's your turn. And we just want to remind all of our women and our kings and queens, that it's our season to arise and be all that God called us to be. Arise, Queen, arise, King. It's your time.
Arise, Queen. It's our time to reign, reinvent, restore, and refresh. Join Sisters for Sisters Inc. as we begin our 22nd year empowering and transforming the lives of women and girls in mind, body, and spirit. Despite the pandemic, we have continued to serve, support, and bring light in a season of uncertainty, challenges, and darkness. Join us as a participant or a partner. Sisters has exciting programs and impactful outreach in the areas of HIV/AIDS, sexual domestic violence, homelessness, girls mentoring, personal development, and many areas where trauma has impacted the lives of vulnerable women and girls. Or if you have a heart to serve and support others, join our mission and become an ambassador, partner, or volunteer. To learn more, visit sistersforsisters.org. Together, we can make a difference, one sister at a time.
We certainly can. We definitely need each other to survive and to make everything kind of work together. We are so grateful for everyone and your years of support as we celebrate 23 years. But our heart is for our families and our women and our children and our men. So, again, on our second year, we are so grateful to really provide a platform to celebrate men. Our women, we have all kinds of empowerment series and workshops and seminars and girls day out and all these great things. But today and during the entire month of June, we're going to love on our brothers because we do love them. Ladies, do we love the men? Do we love our brothers? Our kings of all ages, our young prince, we want to honor them, recognize, and celebrate them. So we want to just thank you all again. Sisters for Sisters is doing an incredible work. Thanks to our members, our partners, our ambassadors, and our volunteers. Let us give you a recap of just some of the things we've done over the past weekend and some of the upcoming events we have on the radar. This past weekend, we did the Health and Sports Expo at Glen Arden Community Center, and it was really a blessing. We talked about health issues from HIV/AIDS, domestic and sexual violence, and breast cancer. And I thank God for the team who came out. They had a wonderful time. It was a great way to share with our community, engage with our community, get them connected, let them know about resources that not only Sisters provides, but our entire village. So I want to thank you, sisters, for showing up and really speaking up against some of the issues in our community. The health disparities are real. Then we also had a great adventure over at Largo High School on yesterday. Sister Diane, thank you as well. And for all of the ladies that showed up, Miss Tia, Regina, Valerie, Val, for this whole weekend, you all showed what real community caring looks like. It was a basketball hoops tournament that spoke about gun violence awareness, prevention, and safety. Thank you, Sister Tyrese McAllister, and your entire foundation for inviting us and having us there. It was a blessing. We are definitely open for anyone who's also on that may want to give back and show that you care about our community, because it's going to take us together. We're so much better. I want to bring up some of our upcoming events this weekend. We have a lot planned. And before we go there, every Tuesday in the month of June, we will have men leading us in prayer. Yes, tomorrow is our prayer day, which will begin at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So grab a pen, write down this number, come on in the room as we pray for our community. Because no matter how many programs we have, no matter how much outreach we do, doesn't matter. We need the Lord to heal our land. So please join us in the month of June as our brothers will step forward and lead us in prayer and even maybe share a word. We also have our Father's Day outreach this weekend on the 19th. Yes, we will be serving the men and the only shelter for men in Prince George's County on this upcoming Sunday, and we need your help. I'm looking for my pastors and churches to give me 40 brand new Bibles. That's right, 40 Bibles. So, and I want them new with large print, not those little teeny ones you can barely read one word. No, 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 no. We're going to invest in our community and show our brothers care. We did this last year and we're doing it again this year. We're also looking for a restaurant or someone that can donate 40 hot meals. They have to be individually packaged for 40 hot meals. And then, of course, we are looking for bags for toiletries and those kind of items. But again, with pillows and sheets and pillowcases as well. So definitely spread the word. All these lovely organizations and church groups and all that. We need your help. We need your support. Please reach out to us, sistersforsisters.org or fathersdaylove.net. Fathersdaylove.net. Support our brothers. They need a hand up, not just a handout. We need to show that folks care. Also, if any organizations would like to do 40 cards, we want to give them cards as well with a signature to say Happy Father's Day. Even if they're not a father naturally, they carry the mantle of a king, and we just have to remind them. Now this Saturday, Sisters for Sisters will be in the house. We are a part of the Kappa Takeover 2022. We are one of the participants, and we're spreading the word about HIV and AIDS in Prince George's County. We will have our presence on the screen because we want everybody to love, but love safe. Stay safe. This is going to be a beautiful event, I'm sure. But our messaging is to remind folks that Prince George's County is #1 in new HIV/AIDS cases in the state of Maryland, and that HIV is still real. And so that's our messaging. We will be at the Kappa Takeover 2022, where over 1,000 tickets have already been sold. So hopefully we can make a difference. And that's all we're trying to do, make a difference. So that's what we've got going on now. Now, also on this 19th, Sisters for Sisters, I thank you all that have signed up. We're always looking for good volunteers, but the Prince George's County Commission on Fathers, Men, and Boys is hosting a Fathers and Family Bike Ride. And we will definitely have a table there. We will be in attendance, so stop by and say hello and wave. And we will be promoting safety and wellness, but also we'll have little treats as well at our table. So stop by and visit and wave. And definitely, this is a great event for your family. It's 9 to 11:30 for the bike ride. And this is at Allen Pond and Bowie, and 12 to 6 for the program. We're going to celebrate our fathers all over the place in Prince George's County and beyond, hopefully this week. So I believe those are all our announcements. I'm just really grateful for this opportunity. I thank you, Sister Diane, Mary, and Karen in your absence. But we want to introduce our special guest today, CWEC. And that Charlotte's Web Empowerment is not empower Enrichment Center is a 501c3 nonprofit established to provide a place for our youth to build strengthen power, agility, basic movement, and motor skills in boxing and physical fitness. That's awesome. Some of the same components will be applied to life skills, education, and workforce development portion of their program. Throughout their year-round program, the children are educated on these concepts as a diversion and quality of life. In order to meet their mission and provide services in the community, they rely on the generosity of individuals and businesses for support. This is a fantastic organization. My son is very interesting, and he went one time and loved it. But sadly, the pandemic came and he wasn't able to really get really involved because things stopped. But we want to thank this wonderful organization that they do so many things, but their heart is for the people. I can tell you personally, Sisters for Sisters has benefited from the heart of the organization, and the CEO, Brian Cooper, is one of our Fathers of the Year for 2021. So we're happy to have him on because he's doing an outstanding job. And people always say, folks do good, they did so good. Well, let me tell you what he did. Come on now, what he did. And Brother James McAllister, they all are working as a team because teamwork makes the dream work. But Brian helped several women that were escaping domestic violence with furniture. And I remember one instance, this lady was like, I just can't believe you did this. I can't believe. She was so touched because she'd been beaten down so long. She didn't feel anybody would do anything for her. But those brothers had to take their furniture up some flights of steps. And she was calling her mother saying, Mom, I can't believe it. She was overwhelmed. So we give hope. And I thank Brian and the entire team for helping restore hope. One of the ladies that we served, thanks to Brian, she had an illness. And we brought her bed, and her mother was talking about how happy she was, how grateful she was. And she lived probably another month, but she was happy. That's the kind of, real action that this organization does, and I really appreciate them. But let me say this to you. We're glad to have them here today, Brother Brian, Brother James, Pastor James. But let me show you a little bit more about Charlotte's Web.
All around the globe was a huge platform. It's all over the place. Fatherhood celebrate. Fathers all over the place. Fatherhood celebrate, dedicate, celebrate. Fatherhood celebrate. All the real men, fathers can only relate. Each and every day on your grind, providing for your family at the drop of a dime. Salute to my fellas who doing better. We can make it through the storm no matter the weather. Take a second, think about it like this. Being there for your kid really makes a difference.
Name. So walk up to me. Say, my name is Jake.
They normally make sure that you get that at 18 so that you can sign your card and then keep it. But it's not necessarily something that you want to always have. You don't need to carry that on you. That's for like when you get a job. Remember how you asked about a job before, Andrew? Those are the things that you will need. Those are proof of identity. Like your social security card, birth certificate, and different things like that in your driver's license.
And when you got the shot at the title, if you have prepared for years and years, if you practice your technique, if you practice your rolling, your scripting, if you got your conditioning right, if you spent the time in the ring, if your conditioning was right, if you prepared, if you really prepared, when the opportunity came, when the phone rang, and they said, you next for the title, you placed yourself as the #1 contender.
Celebrate, fatherhood, celebrate. All the real men, fathers can only relate. Each and every day on your grind, providing for your family at the drop of a dime. Salute my fellas who doing better. We can make it through the storm no matter the weather. Take a second, think about it like this. Being there for your kid really makes a difference. I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a husband. Motivating the fathers to keep hustling. Keep grinding.
Absolutely awesome. And we have to give a shout out to our girl Rochelle McAllister, who's also in it. She's amazing. She is one amazing and fantastic woman who has really been a blessing. So without further ado, we want to introduce you all to two dynamic men who have really making an impact, as you can see, in our community. And we're so grateful to have you all on today. That's Pastor Brother James McAllister and my buddy, and that is Mr. Brian Cooper. Hey guys. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How's it going?
Going good. Other than it being a little hot outside, we're managing.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Well, we're glad to have you all on today. I want to tell the community about Charlotte's Web. Although you all, your video, your work says a lot. Talk to us about how we got here. Who wants to begin? How did you all start this organization? Talk to us.
Well, the organization was started in 2019 by myself and co-founder Tony Brooks, and we wanted to get a way to get the youth in the community together and teach them about some of the boxing skills. But prior to that, James McAllister had come into my office, and it was nothing but a godsend because I met James probably 10 or 15 years ago. And as a result of him coming into the office for something totally different, the friendship has grown and evolved, and he has been right next to me and facilitating all that Charlotte's Web has. There's an old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go further, go together. And he has been together with me this whole ride. And because of his participation in Charlotte's Web, we have done a lot of great things in the community. And if you don't know, James is a boxing coach, but he brings so much more dynamics to the table with his mentoring ability, and ability just to relate to the youth and get them to understand what we're trying to do. So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm listening. You go.
So our goal is not only to try to mentor the youth, but get them in a safe space where they're learning basic boxing skills. And I'll let James chime in on that because he's more of an expert with that than me.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to piggyback on what Brian said. He's right. My wife and I came into the office for a totally different reason, but what I love is that God has a way. God unites people, praise God, for a purpose. And unbeknownst to us, God used something that didn't have anything to do with what we're doing today. And we reunited. Like we said, we had met some years back. And so praise God, about 50 now, 51. But in my younger years, I was a professional fighter. And praise God, today he's elevated me to a position of a pastor. But he united me with this phenomenal man in our community. The things that Brian is doing in the community, if I gave a syllabus, if I talked in detail, y'all would be astonished at just the things that this man is doing in the community. And so God gave structure and format. So see, when he gives a vision, he gives the provision for the vision. And so he united us together and has built a dynamic team. to help impact the youth in our community. And so because of this vision that Brian had, those who God has connected with us, like I said, he brought my wife with us. My wife is part of the formatting and the foundation. He has his daughter with us. She might as well be the COO, right? He brought Keisha with us, the knowledge, the strength, and community outreach, and how God put every piece together. We have I may be the boxing specialist, but we have another James in our community, and he does all our physical fitness work, because me, I might, because I've come from a boxing position, I might go a little too hard. So I admit that, Brian. So you can raise a comment. Right.
Glad you admit it, sir.
Right. But what we do to impact change in the community, praise God, we use boxing because so many young Black men just want to know about it. They want self-defense. They're excited from what they see on the TV. So if they never get in the ring, if they never throw a punch at someone else, they feel that coming into our organization, they learn skills that will help them, if they find themselves in any situation of life. And so one, it's a confidence builder, right? So they're attracted to it. Right? We use the attraction of boxing to help teach, implement principles and morals and values and character, some real foundational principles. And how we do it is we use it, I say we use it as a bilateral. Really, we use the principles from boxing to teach life principles. Right. So if we talk about our foundation, in boxing, you need a strong foundation. That's your base, that's your legs. So we talk about why we need a strong foundation in life. Right. And what building a strong, so they come in for one thing, but they get so much more. You understand? And so our purpose is to build young kings, is to build, and queens, is to build characters, to build the values, is to build the morals, because they are our future. And since they are our future, this is our way of impacting, of giving some of what we learned from generations before us, what we watched, and it's our way of impacting tomorrow. And so that's what we do, and that's our view, that's our value. That's what we come to do. Give some of yesterday into tomorrow, so they know the fight that they're fighting. Because if we don't teach them and we don't tell them, they won't know.
Wow. I love that. I love how you are teaching our children not just the game or the sport of boxing, but how to fight through life, how to win in life, how to succeed in life. And that is powerful. Now, let me ask you this. With the children that you're working with, and you've been working with them, prior to the pandemic, have you noticed a change with the second group since the pandemic with our young people? And if so, what is that change, and what can we do as parents or a village to help them?
Well, one thing that we noticed with the kids that were returning, because we created an atmosphere that was what I consider to be sociably acceptable, where, of course, we had to have conversations about them not using their phones and being on the phones at all times. But once we had our breakout sessions, we did notice that their social interaction skills had definitely increased over the previous years. And I think the biggest thing the community can do is just keep a temperature check on the youth, because we have so many single parent mothers that are raising these young men, and a lot of times they are out trying to make a way and providing food and shelter, that they may not have the time necessary to be in that child's life as much. And that child may be on social media getting a false perception of what the real world is really like. So if they can just keep a gauge and a pulse on that child to make sure everything in their life is being handled properly, then the community will prosper from that child coming up or becoming a queen and a king.
I like that. And it is definitely challenging as a single mother to especially raise daughters, but sons especially. And there's an ongoing debate with women. And I think prior to me having children, I was a part of the other side of this conversation. I've changed since. But is it not true that every young Black king, or all kings, they need a man to pour into their future and their destiny? Is that true? Or do you think the biz in the gated community and the red bottoms and the Jordans are enough? Talk to that conversation.
I'm so glad you admitted, Carolyn, that you've been redeemed.
Yes.
Right. You know, I don't think it's by chance that in the creation of man that and after he created man and he put man to sleep and took from his rib and created woman, and he told them to be fruitful and multiply. I don't think it's by chance that that God didn't allow women to be able to procreate what you call asexually by themselves. And so in like manner, I believe he wanted both male and female to pour into the child, that they'll be raised whole and complete, lacking nothing. I believe that the strengths of both are not wanted but needed in the full development. I believe that a father validates his daughter. The validation that he gives to his daughter is everything. She doesn't feel the need to go out and prostrate herself in different ways. But when she knows who she is and has the dignity aligned with whom she is, she can hold her head high and know that she doesn't need until God brings her king. And so can march forward in life with strength and integrity, and not have to be susceptible to some of the vulgarity in the world. I believe that young boys have to watch their fathers, but you know, I think everything is in the scriptures. For me, when the scriptures tell a wife to honor and respect her husband, but it says as he follows Christ. So there's a caveat. You don't follow him in foolishness, but if he's following Christ, then follow thy husband as he follows Christ. And so it's not any man, it's the man and who he is and how he is. And so, you know, in our choosing, but you know, we find ourselves consistently in life in a lot of single parenting situations. And I believe that foundations like Charlotte's Web that see the need and take the time, don't want what's going on the corners to raise our children, don't want the games to raise our children, don't want social media to raise our children, because we see the jails are filled with all these people that are being influenced wrong or make. If you have a good foundation, if the chances, I believe, greatly lessen when a man is in his children's life, when his heart is right, when even if it has to be co-parenting, when if they're in a home together or if they're co-parenting outside the home together, when the intention is put on the child and caring for the needs of the child, and both parents play an intricate role in the life, I believe you have so much, you raise the ceiling for the advancement of success for your child. There's so much that's missed in single parenting because the single parent probably has to work, twice as hard and is there with them less. And so everything else winds up raising the child instead of the responsibility and the obligation for the two who created the child. It's mind-boggling when we watch the success rate of great African Americans. Most of them had both parents in their life, influenced their life. And so even if you just look at it from a numbers, the law of averages, so many with a single parent wind up finding themselves in so much obscurity in life and have so many other challenges to deal with. But when parents who are present, both parents who are present and involved in the child's life, the success rate is much greater. And so we're trying to give our children a much greater future than what we may have had.
That's really the goal for all parents. And I really appreciate you sharing that, Pastor. Now, Brother Brian, you're the visionary. God planted the seed inside of you to make this thing impactful in our community. And I believe, the pastor and I personally have experience in seeing your great work. But let me ask you this on a personal note, is this aligning up with what you saw when God initially gave you the vision? And if so, or if not, share why. Is this what he showed you?
So initially, coming up, I didn't make all the right or the best decisions. And as a result, my life was altered. And hindsight, looking back on that, I wanted to be able to address the things that directed me in that way and hopefully allow some of my experiences to be a guide for these youth to not go the same way that I went. So in starting this, I didn't know where exactly it was going. I just knew that I wanted to be the man directing the ship. And God definitely has given the increase. Because to be honest, James and I, we started out, we was like, hey, we're going to get some youth up here and we're going to teach them some social skills and some life skills. And like he mentioned before, we're going to use the boxing as an attraction. And then, God allowed certain things to happen to put us in a position to run the summer camp. Mm-hmm. And as a result of the summer camp, there are so many other things that is now being presented to us that we didn't think about. And it seems that where we really want to go now is to be able to provide a shelter for young men between the ages of maybe 18 and 21 in the evenings, the mental health aspect of it. There's so many different things that we believe we can do with the team that we have been given and the direction of that team. I couldn't do, if you would have told me 5 years ago, when I told James we were going to have a nonprofit organization, it would have, I would have never imagined that we are where we are right now and where we're going.
I'm excited. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned something pretty exciting, and that's Summer Camp 2022. I think you all are getting getting ready. And there's a lot of mothers and fathers saying, bring it, bring it. Tell them about the summer camp, guys. Let us know what that's about.
James, you want to talk about the summer camp?
Yeah, so we kick off and we get started June 27th. And so that's right around the corner. It's a 6-week program starting on the 27th of June. I believe we end August 6th, I believe is our August 3rd.
August 3rd, yeah.
August 3rd is our okay, August the 6th is our graduation, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So our summer camp is everything. We're gonna meet 3 days a week. And I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, correct, Brian?
Yes, that's correct. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
10 to
from
1.
1.
Right.
And every other Wednesday, we'll take the youth out for an activity like go-kart riding, top golf, or a game truck, something of that nature.
Okay.
Right. So we don't just now. We have, we like Brian has said, we've grown vastly since where we started 5 years ago. And what's been added to us and what's coming in our future. We're getting ready to enter. Brian, you can go ahead and talk about the school system.
Yes. So we have been blessed with the opportunity. Well, let's go back. We had an opportunity maybe about 4 years ago. And I think that opportunity boosted our confidence when I got a call, and James has always been by my side. Drop a dime, whatever I need, he's there. So I said, we're going to the Youth Detention Center over in Northeast DC. They are having a parent day, and they wanted us to come in with the youth to do a boxing camp, just a 1 day. Now that we have a curriculum for our boxing camp that includes physical fitness and mentoring and how they relate, we have been afforded the opportunity to go into 3 high schools as a pilot program this summer with H.D. Woodson, Anacostia, and Paul Public Charter School for 3 sessions each. And then for fiscal year 23, we believe that we will be able to go into various middle schools as well as other high schools in the district with our boxing mentoring as an after-school program.
Mm.
So,
I love it.
So we get and if you haven't noticed, as James was talking about the summer youth program, one of the things that we implemented that we discussed as a team was trying to get the youth to understand their role in the community by first being young men and how the community perceives them. Like when they are introducing themselves, you saw James in the video, but what the video didn't capture was each time that those youth came up and they didn't shake our hand properly or look us in the eye, they got sent to the back of the line to do it over again until they either got it right or they learned to do push-ups until they got it right. The same way if they come into the facility with their pants sagging down, it's automatic push-ups. So once again, unfortunately, as Black men, that perception is there, and we have to do our part into grooming these young men to knowing that, other people are watching you because of who you are. So you have to make sure that you present yourself well. And that's one of the big things we work on in the summer camp.
I love it. James?
What I was saying was that we are the standard, right? And so if we're going to impact and prepare our teams for the future, then we have to be the standard by which the world either demands or we have to raise the ceiling, because we feel as African American men that when we were born, we were a step or two behind, right? So in the society that we live in, I still feel like our society sees us as a second class citizen. Right? So I feel like we have to be so much better than our counterparts. Right? So our standard, so we teach a standard when we come into our facility. So we don't take much, right? And I believe that that's what's required in the world for advancement. If you go into an institution with a mindset that you have to be better, 2-3 times better, then that's gonna affect what time you go to sleep at night. It's gonna affect how early you choose to get up in the morning. It's gonna affect your preparation. It's gonna affect your study habits. We want to make sure that our children are so prepared to not only achieve in life, but we need them to be overachievers, right? Because we can no longer be viewed as second class citizens. And if we're going to do that, then we have to have power and demonstration of the power in every aspect of our life. So it's in education, it's in intelligence, it's in integrity, it's in morals and values, it's in our character. So I don't want to get too much, but I don't want to get in teaching mode, but there's a standard that we have to set. And if we don't give and push that standard to our youth and know and have accountability to them and for them, and give them a ceiling to shoot and reach for, then I feel like we're letting them down and ill preparing them to take the torch or the baton on to the future.
I love that. That is so powerful. And I appreciate you sharing your heart. I want to ask this last question, and I'm going to speak to our panel of strong sisters. And that question is, what can we do to save our sons? What can we do to save our sons in this world that we're in right now?
Brian, you want to start?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
It definitely is. It's so many different aspects of when you say save our sons and our youth, because a lot of them don't understand and they don't want to be saved because they haven't been exposed to some of the finer things or some of the better things in life. So for this generation, and it's unfortunate to them, they're okay with the status quo, meaning a phone and social media, and unfortunately most of them smoke. We run into that all the time. They want to just smoke, and we just have to be in a position to show them the things that they haven't been exposed to hopefully get them a little motivation on doing the right things. We James and I participated with another organization and assisting youth that had been placed in a foster care program. And it's funny because you have to be careful what you ask for. James and I wanted to reach out to those youth that were really of a different population than we were getting in our summer camp. And we definitely got what we asked for, but we saw where the challenge was. And unfortunately, and James is a big component of being a big proponent of the youth being caught at an early age to get them to break some of those bad habits before they get older. And I think that is one of the major things, piggyback off of what he says, is to try to capture these young men when they're 12 and 13 as opposed to 16, 17, and 18.
You know, Carolyn, if I can chime in here, your question is, what can you do as women or mothers? And outright, I'm probably gonna tell you to pray. You know, what you can't do is change your innate nature. By nature, you're nurturing, and you're givers, and you facilitate, and you know, y'all become providers. You know, the father's missing in the child's life is a real dynamic. You know, the fact of the matter is, you know, I take it back to Adam and Eve, you know, with the curse. So many things we were never supposed to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So much is here, right? So we have to deal with so much in the times that we live in, and every generation gets worse, right? So I want to use. I'm not going to use a name, but I'm going to take a note of a family, right? That Brian and I have dealt with intricately, right? And so the mother asked Brian and I this question, and our issue with the mother was that she didn't have the accountability that we needed. She had to hold the child accountable to the things that we put in place for the child. But mothers, being so nurturing, would forget that the child was on punishment, that she punished them, would let them go. The kind of accountability that we needed at home to know that these are the things that you're going to deal with in the real world. And so if there isn't a penalty, and this is the reason why we deal with principles of life so much, because there are penalties to the decisions that we make in life. The problem with the world that we're living in today, because each generation gets worse, is that now some of these penalties that we used to have to deal with, now they're legal, right? So Brian talked about the getting high and things of that nature. So there's such a proponent now to protect and to defend what was taboo and wrong in our day growing up. And so the world is changing and evolving. But if we give if the child has accountability and standards at home to be upheld to, they have a greater chance when they leave home. They're more prepared for what society is going to face them with, and so that will make them better equipped. But mothers predominantly are on love and affection, or giving the child what they need. Fathers a lot are on respect, discipline, for preparation. We're talking about raising a boy to be a man. And I really feel like at a certain age, the boy don't want his father. The boy needs his father. And
Yes.
he needs his father because he gets to a point in his development where he begins to feel himself. And I'm sorry, I have to put it this way, he needs an alpha bigger than him to make him stand down and to be accountable too. And praise God, I know that's what saved me. I had a strong father, and he's gone today, but I thank him every day for the time and energy and effort and the foresight he had to put into me. And me, my mother was in New York, and so I wasn't raised with my mom, so I got all of my father, and he was but I also believe in like, man, I have two younger brothers. Well, I'm sorry, I have a younger brother and an older brother, and both have done considerable time locked up, right? Because they had an outlet to go to. I didn't have an outlet to go to. But I came from Brooklyn, New York, from some real hard street. I probably need to be broken. But I'm grateful that I was before I left home. I had an understanding, and when I saw what I saw in the street, I called my father 1,000 times and just thanked him because he prepared. So.
That's amazing. That right there says many things. Listen, I know there's some listeners out there. They want to know, how can they connect to Charlotte's Webb's Enrichment Center, LLC? How do we reach you, find out about your summer camp, and also all the other things? And there may be some folks on here that can make some donations and contribute to your cause. What are some of the things, first of all, what are some of the things you all need to help continue to operate your business where you could get some help?
Well, of course, we definitely could always use money because it costs to run the programs. And, everything that we have done in the past has been pro bono. We haven't charged anybody. We've been able to sustain taking care of the staff, supplies. You know, one of the good things about the summer camp is we provide everything, transportation, we provide the equipment, we provide lunch, water, Gatorade, everything at no cost to the youth. So to get more information on our organization, we have a very informative website. You can go to www.charle, I'm sorry, CHARLOTT, E is in Edward, S is in Sam, WEBEC, which Charlotte's Web Enrichment Center at gmail.com. Our contact information is also on the website. If you need to give us a call directly for anything, feel free to do so.
That's outstanding. I really appreciate that. You know, I've got to thank you all for also supporting not just the community, but also Sisters for Sisters. I want to share just what a blessing you all were for some of the mothers we worked with. I think Keisha was involved in that project, and you all you all helped us with some of our families, our mothers that were escaping abuse and mothers that were in transition. And I want to thank you. You all do a lot for the community. And I think Pastor said it best. Some things that, you know, you may not hear about today. But we want to show you a little bit about how you all have served the community during the holidays.
We want to give a shout out to Brian Cooper from Charlotte's Web, he's the one who donated all the toys for our youth. So thank you.
Standing, raise your hand. If you're not standing, sit down, stand up. Because I want to recognize these individuals who come to work every day. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. I want to thank our workers. I want to thank our
Thank you, brothers, for standing up, speaking up, and showing up for our kids. We are almost at the end, but I cannot leave without giving our co-hostess an opportunity to share. Sister Diane, do you have a quick question, or Mary, a quick question or comment?
I just want to say this was very informative. I moved here from New York 25 years ago when my son was 10 years old. And I left New York because of what was happening in the streets. And it was a good move. He is now 36 years old and a DC firefighter. So it was a great move in this area, you know, and I was a single mother. I had two sons. My oldest one that went to the military. So it's hard being a single mother, but yes. You know, I was strong. I did everything I had to do, plus some more. And thank you all for being there for the young folks now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, this is Sister Diane. I first want to commend Carolyn and all the work Sisters for Sisters does as far as outreach and helping a population which may be written off. And a special thanks to Rochelle, First Lady Rochelle, and her husband, Pastor McAllister and Brian Coop, for your vision to provide hope and help and encouragement to our young men, especially, and being the proud grandmother of 4 grandsons. I just commend my son. I see every day where he has planted very seeds in my grandchildren. And wonderful. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We are so grateful. We have come to the end of the day, but is there a closing statement you all would like to make, or anything you'd like to share with anyone that's listening or tuning in before we close for this midday motivation?
Well,
I
I
would
just
just
have one. Okay,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just have one question to both of you. Do you provide a forum, or do you have linkage in the community or job transitions anywhere? In other words, career development opportunities for your young men?
We're working on a workforce development program now.
Yes.
We haven't completely finished. We're more so trying to focus on the youth this summer with the summer camp. And then hopefully once we transition out of that, we'll have an opportunity to implement the workforce development program we're working on.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's a necessary component, that transition into the real world of work, and what you're doing, life skills, teaching the young men to be polite, have respect. They'll go far, far further than having just the minimal, which you talked about. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Brian, you were saying?
No, I was just saying that we want to make sure that if there are any youth out there that need what we have to offer, please get in touch with myself or James. Like I say, there is information on the website to get in touch with us, because we know as a community you can't do it by yourself, and that's what we are here for.
Absolutely. Pastor James, is there anything you'd like to share before we close? And I'd just like to let everyone know we have Pastor James is going to lead us in our prayer on the 3rd Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, 6 a.m. You'll find it on our website as well as our Facebook page. Any closing statements, Pastor?
Wow. I want to thank you for this platform and for giving us time to speak. The view of the African American male in our society isn't the best. We're working on changing or shifting this narrative. What God created. We're far from God's original plan. So we as men getting back, the heart of man being transformed, our minds being renewed. So much. We do have a lot to fight against. I do believe that we're in a society that we don't have our own country. So there are laws that are made that don't. There's a real struggle. Our opposer. We have African Americans have an opposer living in the country that we live in. But I believe that our God is bigger than anything that's before us. And so when we become unified and have the same mind and the same goal, and everyone doing their part. So if my prayer is anything, it's for unity in our community. And because we can do some powerful things when we come together. But as long as we're divided, we will always be weak and we will always be down and won't achieve. So that's the hope, is that we can find when, where, and how we can come together to build our community. And then we can become great So that's my closing statement to unity.
I love.
Mhm.
We would like to applaud you all for definitely showing the world that Black men, men of color can come together, collaborate, and work with the community. You all work with Sister Rochelle's organization, Single Parent Achievers. Shout out to their great work. Sisters for Sisters Inc., you're always helping us whenever we need. I appreciate that, and so many others. So thank you all. Thank you a million times. I want to honor you all. Happy Father's Day to you both. We appreciate you. We are going to be making our big announcement on our Father of the Year. We're doing one this year, and he is incredible. And I want you all to lift him up. When it's announced, we will definitely share it. And we thank you. And we thank you, Brother Anthony, my technical guru, for always stepping in, doing what you do. We appreciate you. I want to thank you all and pray you all will join us again tomorrow for the prayer call, 6 a.m., next week for midday motivation. And most of all, go out and celebrate the men you love this week, this month. And happy Father's Day to all our loving fathers and even fathers that didn't get it right all the time. We still got love for you. You all have a
Right.
wonderful day.
All right,
And
you too.
thank you so much.
Thank
God
you.
bless
Yes,
you
thank
all.
you.
Yeah, everyone.
Bye.